Hi, this is Janice from Space to Relax, and the video you're about to watch is a replay of a live class I taught on Zoom. These classes are free of charge for everyone to join, so please invite your family and friends. They're suitable for beginners and those of you with more Qigong experience. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then please don't forget to hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I hope you enjoy the class.
You're very welcome to the class today, everyone. And in today's class, we're going to keep things moving, and I'm going to show you a simple Qigong routine for stiffness in the joints and the muscles. This is a perfect routine to do first thing in the morning, especially if you wake up and you feel you're a little bit stiff and it just takes you a little while to loosen up and get going. This would maybe take you 10 minutes to do once you've gone through and you're familiar with the sequence of the exercises. And it was actually a request from somebody who emailed me who said she just was getting up in the morning, she was so stiff, it just took her so long to get going, and could I suggest anything? So you will find on my blog page that there are some other links to joint stiffness, to arthritis, to fibromyalgia, to different routines around those. So I would encourage you to have a look on my blog page and search for those. But this one is just a more general routine that you can be doing first thing in the morning. And from a Chinese medicine point of view, just to introduce this topic, the reason that we often feel kind of stiff and inflexible in our joints and achy in our muscles is because our qi is not open and free-flowing. So if you imagine our channels of qi flow in the body are like a river with water flowing along the river, and if there's a problem, then what can happen is that it's almost like you get the formation of a little dam in the river, which blocks that free and easy flow of water or of energy in our bodies through that area. Things then stagnate behind the dam, things all back up, and that's where you can end up with stiffness, pain, and discomfort in the area. That's how it manifests in terms of Chinese medicine. So what we want to do is to be able to open up the floodgates of the dam, so to allow that free flow to happen and to restore that free flow, because when everything's free flowing, then there is no stiffness or aching or aches or pains. And it is the case that when people get up first thing in the morning, they're kind of stiff because they've been lying down all night. This, the stagnation has occurred because their circulation has slowed down. So once they then get up in the morning, start moving around, that movement of their body, even if it's just walking around, will help with the circulation and to ease any of that stagnation that accumulates overnight. But this is a quicker way of doing it, and it's a more thorough way of doing it, really working through the joints and the muscles from the head all the way down to the toes. So if you can just find a nice, comfortable standing position with your feet shoulder width distance apart. The toes are pointing straight ahead. The knees are also at that hip width, shoulder width distance apart with a slight bend in them. So you can maybe just spring up and down on the knees, keeping the feet firmly planted in the ground, just to feel that softness in the knee joints. And then moving on to the hips and the lower back and the pelvis, tucking the tailbone, moving the tailbone down, and then lifting up in the lower abdomen area. So you feel a little bit more openness in the lower back. Check that the shoulders are nice and relaxed, well away from your ears, shaking out the hands and the arms so that they're nice and loose. And then checking that there's length in the back of your neck by tucking the chin back towards the throat, and then almost feeling an elongation and a pull up the back of the neck. So that tucking of the chin isn't straight back, it's almost like a curve. So the chin comes down and then curves around, and feel that elevation coming up back of the neck. So we've got this nice relaxed standing position. I'd ask you now to close your eyes for a moment, close your mouth, let the tongue rest against the roof of your mouth with the tip of the tongue resting against the back of your upper teeth. And bring a smile to the corners of your mouth, softening in the face, releasing any tension by smiling. And breathing now in and out, just gently through the nose, keeping the mouth closed. And beginning with a few abdominal breaths in order to bring yourself into what's called the Qigong state, the state where you're prepared for the practice to come. So as you breathe in, feel the belly expand, as though you're blowing up an imaginary balloon. And then as you breathe out, feeling the belly shrink. Relaxing in the abdominal area. Not holding or forcing the breath in any way. Just observing the breath as it is. And then gently opening the eyes. So remember now that Qigong is a combination of movement, breath, and your mind. So as I go through this routine, if there is a movement that is restrictive for you, if you have an area of your body that's injured or not so flexible, please don't try to force the movement. Have the intention with your breath and your mind of that movement happening, even if you can't actually physically perform it yourself. So just do what you can. Never go into pain with any of these movements. Just really kind of mind yourself and make sure that you're looking after your body as you do this. But please don't be disappointed if you can't do all the movements, because remember, you've got the breath and you've got the mind, which are the other 2/3 of Qigong, that will still be working really well to help to promote that free flow of Qi throughout the whole body. So beginning now, just by taking a breath in through the nose, and as you breathe out, just let the chin drop down towards the chest. Feeling that lovely stretch through the back of the neck. So we're beginning with the neck, opening up any stagnation in that area. And then breathing in, back to upright. Breathing out, just tilting the head back slightly. And please take care if you have any neck issues at all with this. You don't need to go too far. Remember, you're putting the mind and the breath into this. Breathe into the center. And now tilting the head to one side. So just letting the head fall to one side under its own weight, not leaning like this. It's just the head, so the shoulders stay square. And breathing into the center. And breathing out to the other side, placing the mind in the area where you feel that lovely extension. Breathing into the center. Now turning the head, keep the chin level with the ground, exhaling as you turn. Again, mind going into the area where you feel that bit of extension. Breathing into the center and breathing out. And back to the center. And now lift your hands and place your hands palms facing and touching each other, fingers facing up towards the ceiling in front of you in kind of an elevated prayer position. So your hands are not level with your chest, they're level with your face. Now make sure that the palms of the hands, the fingers, the heels of the hands stay together. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out from this position, just try to draw the elbows closer together. So moving on to the shoulders now, feeling a lovely stretch along the backs of the shoulders as you exhale. Then inhale, allow the elbows to move away from each other. Hands are still touching. Exhale, mind and breath going into the shoulders as the elbows come together. Inhale, elbows come apart for a little relaxation. One more time. Exhale, elbows come together, mind and breath to the shoulders. Inhale, elbows move apart. And now just allowing the hands to drop down by your sides. Closing your eyes for a moment now and picking up the shoulders towards your ears as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, circle the shoulders forwards and down. Out as you do that. In, going back with the circle, and then lifting the shoulders up. So drawing forward circles, your shoulders, placing your mind into the center of your shoulder joints. In as you lift the shoulders up, and breathing out as the shoulders come forwards and down. In, shoulders come back and up. And change the direction. So now, reverse that. Breathing out, shoulders going back and down. In, shoulders coming forwards and up. Keep the mind in the joints. Be thinking of enabling that lovely, open, free flow of chi, of blood, of fluid through the whole of the shoulder joint. And then relaxing. Now breathing in, and pick your shoulders up as far as they'll go towards your ears. This is where most of it exists when we're in tension. And breathe out quite forcefully through the nose now, and let everything go. Shoulders coming down. Breathing in, shoulders come up towards your ears. Breathing out through the nose, shoulders come down. One more time. Breathing in. Breathing out, shoulders down. Okay, now moving on to the arms and the wrists and the hands. So lift the hands up in front, to be in front of you, around shoulder level. Palms are facing down towards the ground. The elbows are nice and relaxed. So fingers are facing away from you. Okay. So now just allow your fingers to drop down, bending in the wrists. So fingers point down towards the floor as you breathe out. As you breathe in, fingers come up to point towards the ceiling as though you're making a stop sign. So the flexion is in the wrists. So flexing the wrists now forwards and down as you breathe out. And coming up, making the stop sign, fingers facing towards the ceiling, palms face away from you. Out, fingers facing down. Backs of the hands face away from you. Really feel that lovely stretch in the wrist joints. Again, putting your mind into that area. In, fingers come up to face the ceiling. And keep your hands in that position. Just allow your fingers to relax again. So palms just level now with the floor, facing down towards the ground. Fingers facing away from you. And then just circling in the wrists, however it feels comfortable for you. Just drawing a few circles. Maybe close your eyes here. Breathing normally, using your abdominal breathing. But placing the mind in the wrist joints. So really opening up any areas where you feel a little bit of tension, maybe not such great flexibility. Really just working with that as slowly or as quickly as you want. Often with a movement, it's good to a little bit more slowly so you can really feel into the range of what's available to you on any particular day. Then opening the eyes, keep the hands up, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit in the shoulders now by holding the hands and the arms in this position. So again now, I'd like you to keep the hands up, spread the hands apart, the fingers apart, as far apart from each other as they'll go, and then make a fist with both hands. Spread the fingers apart and make a fist. And just keep going with that. Spreading and making a fist. Spreading, make a fist. And now start to speed that up a little bit. Keeping the hands, the arms up at shoulder level. So now go a little bit faster. Keep breathing, focusing on the hands, but really on the finger joints, that movement in all those little joints of the fingers. But what you'll start to feel, if you're going fast enough with this, is a real bit of an ache or a burn in the forearms as well. So really mobilizing the chi movement down through the forearms. Keep going, a few more. Smiling, even if you're in pain. And relax the hands down by the sides. Give the arms a little bit of a shake out. Okay, now moving on to the chest, all across the collarbones and the upper part of the back as well. So we're going to be moving the arms for this, but what I want you to focus on is openness in the chest with the first movement and broadness across the back with the shoulder blades moving horizontally away from each other for the second movement. So what I'd like you to do now is just pick up your hands and just bring them up through the center line of your body, up towards heart level, as though you're going to do a huge yawn. So spreading the hands out away from the chest now, out to the sides, hands going out to the sides. Feel that lovely broadness across the chest. And from this position now, make loose fists with your hands and then start to draw the hands down towards each other, back towards the center line, bending in the elbows, and then make yourself into more like a little ball, really broadening in the back, the upper part of the back. You may cross the hands in front of your chest to feel a little bit more broadness. So breathe in at this point now, and then breathe out and do the huge yawning movement again. Spreading the hands out to the side, but really mind is in the chest area, the pectoral muscles, feeling that lovely openness. Breathe in, making loose fists, drawing the hands and the arms back to come into that crossed position in front of your chest, feeling real broadness across the upper part of the back. Maybe tucking the chin down towards the chest to feel a little bit more of that extension. Breathing in, breathing out. One more time, opening up the chest, stretching out the arms. Breathing in, drawing the hands together, the arms in front of the chest, dropping the head, feeling that separation of your shoulder blades away from each other in the upper back. And then just coming back down, dropping the arms down by your sides to relax. So hands just down by your sides, give them a little shake out. So we're going to move into the sides of the body now. So what I'd like you to do is place the tips of your fingers on both shoulders. So the elbows are bent, hands just resting on the tops of your arms. And from this position, you're just going to take a breath in and then breathe out and tilt to one side. So really feeling lovely movement in the waist area and along the side of the trunk. And breathing in, come back to the center position, and then breathing out, tilting to the opposite side. Try not to let the hip move too far to one side, keeping the hips steady, really mind and breath going into the side of the body, from the hip all the way up to underneath your armpit. Coming back to the center position, to upright. And if you want to move this on a little further, breathing out, go back to the other side again. And you can then let go with your hand on the opposite shoulder and just reach across your body. Palm facing towards the ceiling, just reaching a little bit further. If your shoulder and your arm allow that, to increase that lovely extension and elongation the side of the body. Breathing in, come back to center. And then breathing out, going to the other side and reaching across if that movement's available to you. Mind going into the side of the body. Breathing into center. And then one more time to each side in your own time. So breathing in before you make the movement, and then breathing out as you reach to the side. Into the center. And breathing out, reaching to the other side, not forgetting breath and the mind. In, back to the center again. And now keeping the fingers on the tops of the arms here, elbows are bent, just going to turn to one side and then the other. So just creating a very gentle spinal twist. So breathing in and then just breathing out. Keep that broadness in the collarbones and just move, twisting from the waist towards the side. Head follows, looking towards one side. And then inhaling back to the center position, facing forwards. And exhaling, twisting in the waist, rotating to the other side. And twice more in your own time. Keeping the movement as flowing and fluid as you can. Soft and gentle as you can, with no tension. Finish that one, just allowing the hands to come back down by your side. Now moving on to the lower back area, and this area can be a little bit tricky for some people. A lot of people have issues with the stiffness in the lower back. So what we don't want to do is make matters worse. So with this, all I'm going to ask you to do is imagine your spine is sitting on top of your sacrum, right at the bottom of the spine, and you're going to imagine the spine is pivoting around the sacrum in a little circle. So some of you would have done hip circles in many other kind of exercise classes as warm-ups. It's not that big. You want to think of really little mini circles as you do this. So just relaxing the hands down by the sides and close your eyes and just visualize that area where the spine is connecting with the sacrum. And begin to draw very tiny circles with your lower back. So there is a little movement of the hips. This is a really tiny movement where breath and the mind are actually much more important. So really visualizing lovely relaxation, the lower back area, open and free flowing chi or energy and blood through the lower back. And change the direction of that circle, in and out through the nose, using your abdominal breathing. And then coming to rest. Very, very gentle movement for the lower back area. Moving on next to we'll move on to the groin and the hips actually. So what you might want to do is stay as you are in this standing position. If you feel like you have a bit more flexibility in the groin, then you can step a little bit wider so that maybe your feet are just a bit wider than shoulder width distance. So you could perhaps try that to begin with. The knees now are no longer bent, so you want to make sure the knees are straight, the toes are still facing towards the front. Then place your hands on your lower belly. So your palms are flat on your belly. The thumbs are touching each other horizontally, meeting just below your belly button. And then the index fingers are touching, making kind of like a downwards arrow towards your pelvic area. Relaxing in the shoulders. And from here, what we're going to do is take a breath in. And then as we breathe out, we're going to move the hands apart, around to the sides of the body, around at hip level, and then just keeping the hands moving around, allow them to come to rest in the lower back. So just resting flat on the lower back, fingers facing down, and then very gently tilting backwards, using your hands to support your lower back. But what you're really looking to feel is a stretch, a very gentle stretch in the groin area. So there should be no pinching in the back. Just pinching in the back, don't go that far, just ease off on it. And then coming back to upright, moving the hands back around to the front again. to rest, making a triangle in front of the abdomen and just below the belly button. So take a breath in, and then twice more. Breathing out as you move the hands around to the sides and into the lower back, then tilting back very slightly, feeling that stretch in the groins. If you feel no stretch in the groins, step further apart. Breathing in, coming back to the starting position. And then one more time, breathing out, moving the hands around to the sides. Taking care not to let the head drop back in this position. And then breathing in, coming back to center again. Then if you have stepped out a little wider, step back to your original standing position with feet shoulder width distance apart. And you can now bend the knees, just maybe shake out in the knees a little bit as you've had them straight. Okay, moving on now to the thighs and the knees. So you see how we're working from top to bottom. And I'm going to turn sideways on just so you can see what I'm doing here. So from this position now, I'd like you to place your hands just above your knees. So the palms are flat, just above the knees, and the fingers are facing in towards the center. So you're supporting the area just above the kneecaps. And now from this position, what I'd like you to do is bend in the knees. You'll find you probably have to bend in the knees a little bit more anyway, just to get into that position. Now, for anyone with high blood pressure or any dizziness, then please don't let your head drop down too far. Keep looking straight ahead. And so just minding yourself, and again, minding your lower back, keeping the lower back straight. So you're moving the sit bones backwards, keeping the integrity of the lower back, not allowing it to round forwards. From this position, take a breath in, and then breathing out, and just sit down a little bit further, keeping the heels on the ground. And then breathing in, just come up slightly to ease off on that. Now, as you do this, try not to let the knees go too far in front of the feet. So incorrectly would be to create too much bend in the knees and lean forwards and put too much pressure on the knee joints themselves. The way you can avoid that is to sit down and think of moving the weight back towards your heels. And just from this position even, while you're sitting down, just practice moving the weight between the balls of the feet and the heels and see how different that feels. As you move the weight back towards the heels, you may find that the toes lift slightly. That's a great position to be in. You should start to feel this now in the thighs. So close your eyes for a moment in this position and breathe. And notice where you feel any achiness, any tension. That by working these muscles that you feel right now, are actually helping to promote circulation through that whole area and strengthen it too. And then take a breath in and come back up to a standing position. The next one we're going to do is working with your hamstrings along the backs of the legs. So again, I'm going to turn sideways on and show you, and we can work with the weights, moving it forwards and back, just to see how that feels for the hamstrings. So stay as you are. I'll turn to the side so you can see me. So from this position now, the hands are a little bit higher up. So rest the hands on the thighs, palms flat on the thighs, fingers facing down. Now, what I'd like you to do is straighten in the knees. So no bend in the knees this time. Again, keeping the back nice and straight, not allowing it to round forward. You don't want to do any damage. And then just hinging at the hips and leaning forwards very slightly, looking straight ahead. Keeping length in the back of the neck, shoulders moving down the back of the body. And from this position now, if you have that available to you, you may want to slide the hands down a bit further. But what I'd really like you to do is just breathe normally now and play around with moving, again, the weight from the balls of the feet to the heels. And you notice as you do that, that the stretch in the hamstrings moves. So you can change the area of the hamstrings you want to stretch just by changing the weight. And often what people do when they're doing any of this kind of forward bending stretch is their weight is too far forward. So usually it's really helpful to be thinking of moving the weight back into the heels. Again, for anyone with any issues with high blood pressure or dizziness, please don't bend too far forwards. Similarly, for anybody with osteoporosis, be very careful of your lower back. So you don't need to go too far forwards with this to feel a stretch in the hamstring. But if you've been told not to do forward bends, especially in the case of osteoporosis, you can avoid this movement altogether. And then very slowly now, bending in the knees and tucking the tailbone under, pushing into your heels in order to come back to upright. Staying very strong in that standing position. Moving on now to the ankles. So just letting the ball of one foot rest on the floor, and the heel is raised, and closing the eyes and circling in the ankles, placing your mind in the center of the ankle joint. The circles can be as slow or as fast as you wish, and then change the direction. And then replace the heel on the floor, shifting the weight to the other side, lifting up the heel, and working with the opposite ankle now, circling. Ball of the foot stays on the floor, heel is raised, feeling the whole range of movement of the ankle joint. So rather than moving fast with this, maybe move a little bit more slowly and try and draw as big a circle as you can with your ankle without lifting the ball of the foot off the floor. And then replacing the heel. And now for the last one, just to work with the toe joints, so we're nearly at the end. Hopefully you're in bare feet for this. What I'd like you to do is just pick up one foot, and I want you to tuck your toes under. Tuck them under and just give your toes a little stretch. So you may want to move from the big toe, placing the weight and feeling that stretch with the big toe tucked under, and then move that outwards. So you're moving the stretch outwards through all 5 toes to the little toe, and then moving back across to the big toe, feeling the stretch along top of the foot. Our toes are not used to bending in this way, so this is a nice kind of toe and foot strengthening exercise. And then wiggle, give them a little, pick them up, give them a little wiggle before you place the foot back down. This is also a great exercise for balance. So with the other foot now, tuck the toes under. Feeling that lovely stretch. You may feel it even going up as far as kind of the front of the ankle and the shin bone. Closing the eyes. Again, great exercise to do this for your balance, especially with the eyes closed. And then picking the foot up, wiggling the toes before you put the foot back down. And then just to finish this exercise, be very loose in the knees, just a few little bounces up and down in the knees. So your knees are like springs. Keep the feet solidly planted on the floor, heels on the floor, feeling that contact of the feet. And then maybe just turning side to side in the body, allowing the arms to be very loose, swinging around by your sides just as you turn from one side to the other, just to check that your body's nice and loose and relaxed. And then bringing the hands together. You can stop the bouncing now. Just bring the palms together, rubbing them until they get really, really hot. Feeling the heat in the palms of your hands. And then place one palm over each eye, fingers facing up towards the ceiling. Feel the lovely heat from your palms, running through your eyes, through the backs of your eyes, to nourish the mind. And to finish the exercise now, just giving your face a little massage, a little rub, but bringing your mind back to your abdominal breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. As you breathe in, feel the belly inflate, and as you breathe out, feeling it deflate. Allow the hands to come back down by your sides. And bring a smile to the corners of your mouth. So that is a very simple routine working from head to toe in order to promote the free flow of qi through your joints and through your muscles. So it is the perfect Qigong exercise for stiff muscles and joints. Really great first thing in the morning. And you don't have to do all of those exercises from head to toe. If you can't remember them all, that's fine. Or if there's a movement which isn't available to you, that doesn't matter. So just working as best you can from top to bottom. And you don't have to do as many repetitions of that. So you'll see that routine took us probably around 20, 25 minutes. But once you get the hang of that, then you can probably do that in 10 minutes, really. It will be really helpful first thing in the morning. It just took us a bit longer because I was explaining everything as we went through. So I really hope you enjoyed that routine today, everyone. If you have any questions, my email is janice@spacetorelax.com, so email me there. Or you can post a question in our free Facebook group, which is Space to Relax Free Qigong Group. Also, if you enjoyed this class, we're now kind of getting a little bit closer to Christmas, and I would love to give some money to the ICU nurses in the intensive care unit and the staff who work there in my local hospital. So half of the proceeds from any donations you give me to say thank you for this class will go to them. The other half go towards the upkeep of this website.
If you enjoyed this Qigong lesson, then there are 4 things you can do right now. The first thing is to head over to my website, which is spacetorelax.com, and there you'll see that you can join up for a free 3-part video series. The second thing you can do is click the link next to this video to sign up for the live Qigong classes. The third thing you can do is go over to Facebook if you're on Facebook and look for Space to Relax Free Qigong Group. That's my free group where you can post any questions, and please do join the group. And the fourth thing is, if you're watching this video on YouTube, then please hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and look forward to seeing you in the next video.